Welcome to the tutorial on how to find resources for your senior project. This tutorial will briefly discuss what is called the research triangle and how to make a specific idea or concept searchable in databases, and finally suggest some resources on where your research should begin. The research triangle has the research question or thesis at the top. In this case, the physical self-perception of para-athletes is not a research question or a thesis, but it is very close. A thesis statement would look something like, para-athletes have a more accurate self-perception than regular athletes. And a research question would ask, how does the self-perception of para-athletes compare with other athletes? The research question or thesis is at the top of the research triangle. It is narrow, which is good. While there may be some research on your specific area of inquiry, oftentimes you need to think a bit broader when looking for resources. So let's work on transforming our thesis statement into some key terms we can use when looking for resources. The research triangle also can tell us what kinds of resources have what kinds of information. Articles are typically at the top. Since our research question or thesis is at the top, doesn't that mean that I can look for articles right away? Well, yes and no. Let's give it a shot. Two key ideas are self-perception and para-athletes. You will see that when using Corban search, only a handful of results come up, and at first glance, these really do not appear to have much to do with our topic. Going down the research triangle, we broaden our search and we look at other types of resources. If you switch your search over to books and more in Corban search, instead of 10 results, you get none. Does this mean that Corban University has nothing on the topic? Not exactly. It does mean that we likely need to look at our terms a bit differently. For starters, let's look at our two phrases separately. This will not only give me a better idea of what the library has on my topic, but it will also allow me to see how the library has organized my subject area. So let's go back to Corban search and do a search for the phrase para-athletes. I can see that I have some content under books, articles, and more, but I want to find some resources in books. So let's change it to books and more. Unfortunately, nothing comes up. Let's go back to books, articles, and more and click on more options under subject. You will notice the subject disabled athletes. This is likely the formal classification that has been used for para-athletes. Let's go back and search for this phrase, and let's change my subject parameters to books and more. One book may be of particular interest, the Paralympic Games Explained. If you look under details, you will see a chapter entitled The Broader Social Issue of Disability Within Society and Their Impact on Sports Participation. While not directly on para-athletes and self-perception, it will likely touch on the issue. Of even more value than that, at the end of this chapter it has a handful of items listed for further reading. To see if Corban University Library has these, simply go back to Corban search and enter the titles of these two resources. A book entitled Disability, Sports and Society, which Corban University Library does not have, and an article entitled Perceptions of Disability and Their Impact Upon Involvement in Sports for People with Disabilities at All Levels. While that particular article did not show up, a handful of others that may be related did. Click on Expand Beyond Full Text to see if there are any more articles. Just because Corban University Library does not have these items, this does not mean that you cannot get them. Simply go to the library's home page and click on the link for Interlibrary Loan. Click on Book and fill in the information from the bibliography for the book and hit Submit. Click on Article and fill in the information from the bibliography for the article and hit Submit. Before we close this tutorial, let's look at one other resource, Wikipedia. If I look for the phrase that I used earlier, disabled athlete, it takes me to the Wikipedia entry of disabled sports. While the article will provide some good background information, what really should be of interest are the references. Some of these may be helpful for further research. If you have any further questions on finding background information for your topic, please do not hesitate to contact me.